What's going on, everyone? It's the one and only Raptor Spiritus, and we have some more leaks about the ships that we reviewed the other day. I'm going to try to keep this video a little bit shorter than last time. As I mentioned earlier, it was my first time really going live and doing well, not live, but I'm making a video about ship reviews. And it was my first time. I was doing it with my brother. It was a little long, so we're going to try to cut it down this time and kind of stick to just kind of the facts about what's going on. So, I have a couple of videos that I want to share that kind of give a little more insight to the vehicles. So I'm going to go ahead and start that video, and we're going to kind of go through it together.
All right, so first we're going to talk about the Asgard, the Greycat MTC, and the Mirai Guardian MX a little bit. Well, let's go through, we're going to read through the ship descriptions for them, and then also we have some stats for the ship components and ship weapons and all those sorts of things. So let's read through these descriptions, and then we'll take a look at the stats. So starting with the Anvil Asgard, its focus is a vehicle transport, and the description is, as the battles of today continue to grow in scale and complexity, Anvil Aerospace understands the impact a single vehicle can have on the outcome. Enter the Asgard, the next generation in ground vehicle support. The Anvil Asgard features a quick load ramp, a sizable hole to securely store your assault vehicle of choice, and a hefty array of armaments to ensure access to even the most combat-heavy of drop sites. Next we have...
So with that being said, after looking at some more of the videos, I've already looked ahead. The Asgard is pretty. It's pretty dope. I mean, so just imagine the Valkyrie, except a lot more beastly, with a little more of a purpose, let's say. So let's just say the Asgard would probably be the big brother to the Valkyrie. Just putting it simple. It's got a bigger, wider cargo area to open up to, so you can fit tanks in there. I would think you might be able to fit some of those other really long, heavier ground vehicles in there, but I know for sure you could definitely fit Nova tanks. That'll fit. It looks really great, that what it has, and like I said, it has a lot more offensive guns for the pilot than the previous Valkyrie did. So the Asgard has a lot. Is definitely a lot better than the Valkyrie in a lot of ways. So, but it's only for a crew of two. There's only two beds in there, which is fine, but it's still really cool.
We have the Greycat MTC. Its focus is personnel transport. As an expert in industrial operations, Greycat understands that job site security is a vital part of any successful business venture. Not only that, but to be fully effective, you need to be able to get your security personnel and their equipment to wherever they're needed most. That's why the MTC Mobile Tactical Center is such an important addition to your next venture. Nimble enough to access the difficult terrain encountered at remote operations, and equipped with enough suit lockers, weapon racks, and storage to tackle a wide host of issues, the Greycat MTC could make all the difference when it comes to turning a potential problem into a potential profit.
Okay, so the MTC, when I read this, I thought to myself, because I've seen the photos of it, it looks small. So I originally was thinking that how is it going to fit suit lockers for a security force? So when they say security force, my first thought is I'm like, that's got to be at least minimum 4 people, right? But after looking at it, it actually is only two. So it has two suit lockers inside of it, two large weapons rack for two large weapons, and then two standard weapons racks, and a couple of little funny other things. But that's it. It says it has a little rack that comes out the back that can hold boxes, like small boxes. Um, but I think you'll people will get to kind of get more in depth into what its capacity is when you get there. The back does not open; it's just a side view that we discussed before. And like I said, once we go through some of the videos, like the um, person I'm using this video from is going to kind of go through each one so you can kind of see it has where they've leaked actual interiors for these vehicles. So, and then there's another video we're going to look at that actually is going to show more of, like, say, the Starlancer TAC interior where the HABs are. So, but moving on to the MTC, like I said, it's not as big as you would think. It's wide, but I still think from looking at it, it's a little bit more narrow from the Ursa. When you see a person get into it, it's just a one seater. There's no, I think it has maybe a jump seat, but it's not like for a lot of people. And so that's why I said it's definitely in between STV and an Ursa, but more on the smaller end of that. It's definitely not as long as an Ursa. It just looks like a more capable STV with a little bit more purpose. So yeah, it's not as big as you think it is from what it sounds like. It only has two lockers for only two people. So
And finally, we have the Mirai Guardian MX. Its focus is a heavy fighter. Taking the framework of the Guardian fighter and adding even more offensive options, the Mirai Guardian MX packs additional firepower and armor ideal for overwhelming opponents. While not as nimble as the base Guardian, this heavy fighter is still more agile than many other ships in its class.
so this one I need to kind of elaborate on. So I've seen the interior. Most times I'm pretty sure anyone's probably seen it for themselves already because there's a lot of videos out this morning about it. So first of all, I will say this is the silhouette from CitizenCon from last year that we saw because everyone saw the Guardian, but it looked different. The landing gear was longer and it looked a little bit more like beefy. You could tell it looked like really around the pylons, unlike the regular Guardians that seem a little more streamlined. That silhouette looked a lot more beefier. So people were thinking, okay, this is just the Guardians. Maybe they just changed it or something. No, this one, the Guardian MX, was the one from CitizenCon. So that was the one we saw. Because if you look at the silhouette, it matches it completely. Landing gear, it's a lot more beefier. It's crazy. And as we get into it, looking at it, from a visual point of view, you'll notice that it has, just like the MX from the Fury, it has armor that goes over the cockpit, but it's the whole cockpit, which is pretty cool. I like it. But then I will say, I'll go ahead and spoil it. It does not have a hab. There's no bed. There's no habitation. It's just straight hallway with components because it has extra components in it. It does not have a bed. That is a trade-off, obviously, besides the firepower. But the cool thing is that it has 4 size 4 guns and 24 size 2 missiles. And it's more armored. So you can't sleep in it, but you get a little bit more out of it. So it's actually not that. I think it's pretty cool. I'm kind of on the fence because I really love the fact that I can log out in it, but really, like most heavy fighters, you can't log out in them. So I'm debating on just taking the L and just still getting it because I love the fact that it has 4 size 4 guns and 24 missiles. It'll be able to hold its own. It's got a lot more armor. They say it's more nimble than a lot of ships in its class, which really and truly, that's still saying something. It's not as nimble as say the regular Guardian or the QI. However, it's basically a tank is what it is. So I'm probably gonna still get it regardless, but I am a little disappointed that they took the bet out of it. That kind of stinks. But CIG is CIG, and they're gonna do whatever they feel is best. So, but I think the trade-offs for what it comes with is worth it. So.
So next, let's go over the loadouts of components that we know of so far for these new ships. So for the Guardian MX, what we know is it has 2 size 2 shields, 24 size 2 missiles, and 4 size 4 pilot weapons. The Greycat MTC, we know that it has at least 1 size 0 shield generator, and it has a remote turret that has 2 size 2 weapons. And then for the Anvil Asgard, it has 4 size 2 shields, so that's the same as the Valkyrie has, 16 size 3 missiles in that top missile turret on top of the ship, 4 size 3 pilot weapons, a remote turret with 2 more size 3 pilot weapons that is slave to the pilot, and an additional manned turret that has dual size 4 weapons. And then towards the middle of the vehicle, there are 2 mountable size 1 side turrets that deploy from the side doors where personnel could drop out or jump out of the vehicle. There's those little Gatling gun side turrets.
So this again, so the Asgard, for me, I wasn't planning on buying another medium ship, but I'll be honest, the Asgard is really hitting all the boxes for a medium ship. It has, as we let me go back a little bit. Okay, so as he stated, it has four size three pilot weapons, but one of the turrets is slave to his two, which I do is on the bottom. So it has. So if you when you look at it, when we see the visual, there's two sets of size three weapons on the top, two on the left, two on the right, and then there is the turret on the bottom. And then you have a huge size four turret on the bottom as well, and then you have a huge missile rack on the top of it on the roof, more towards the middle. And then on top of that, you get two uh, Gatlin turrets that come out the sides. That's amazing. And then you can drop out tanks. It looks like it can fit two for sure two tumble storms in it, which is super cool. So really and truly, you could do like a tank and do probably medical Ursa in there, and I mean you got a killer ship. It's super cool. I'm really considering buying this. I almost considered at one point letting it go for uh, the Corsair that I have, the Emerald Duchess, my baby, but it's still not quite worth it for me to do that. So honestly, I might end up just buying it right out. It's gonna be I wasn't planning on spending money like that, but I might do it because I just love the way the Asgard looks. I love what it's bringing. So it might be the new daily. Or I might trade in my A1 because I use it, but I barely use it. But I do like it. It's really stealthy looking. It's got 10 size 5 bombs. I mean, it's a cool ship. But so we'll have to see. We'll have to see.
Out or jump out of the vehicle, there's those little Gatloop sort of environment. They can look around
So
them. So we're going
this
to
is
look
the
at the
MTC
Guardian
I was
or
talking
the
about
Greycat
before.
MTC, the
So
Guardian
as you
MX,
can
the
see,
Asgard,
it
and
doesn't
finally
look
the
that
Starriser
big.
TAC.
It
We aren't going to watch.
it really isn't that big. Really, it's not. So I think that it can still. So one of the issues that a lot of people are having with putting a ground vehicle in the spirits, I think this will still fit in the spirits. That's my opinion. I don't know for a fact. It is a little taller, but I still think maybe it might fit. But we'll have to wait and see. Someone will come out with a will it fit video. Captain Foxy Loxy. He's like the king of will it fit. I'm sure he'll come out with something as soon as we get a chance to take a look at it. So, but I don't think it's that big. But I actually like the way this thing looks. This is great. I'm a big fan of this thing.
Through the entire video, but we will skip around to a couple different points. So first, they're going to do a little roundabout of the vehicle. We can see, from what I've seen of the dimensions, it is about the same width as an Ursa, maybe a little bit taller than the Ursa, but it is, in its length, it is a little bit shorter than the Ursa. What's interesting is right here at the back, there's a little deployable...
So before I continue with the video, there is a car manufacturer. I can't remember what it is right off the hand, but basically it was the one where I think it's Venza, something like that. I think it's Venza, guys. It's the one where they use the Jeep Wrangler body, the chassis, and then they put a new body on it that's got it's armored up. It's got bulletproof glass. It's got taser like door handles. It has like countermeasures like smoke screen, all this other shit. Like it's like a thing you can buy. It's crazy. This is what that looks like. It looks like that. I think it's called the Venza or something like that. But this is exactly what it dawned on me. This is what it looks like. It's crazy. I would look for it, but it's gonna take a while. So, but we'll just continue on. But this is they're about to talk about the back of it where it has the cargo boxes you could put on it, like the small ones.
What I think is a storage rack for 8th SCU boxes, I think. It looks like you could potentially, if I rewind it here, you could potentially fit maybe 4 on there. There's these separate little areas. Maybe it's for something else. It doesn't seem like it's a weapon rack, but there may be some capacity for some extra.
So I think what it is again, I think it's the small boxes, like the boxes that are the size of whenever you take your armor off. Those little small boxes. I do believe you can put 3 on here, or or maybe you could put four, because what it looks like you put one here, you put one, two here, and then one on the end. So when you see it closing up, the middle comes back first and then goes up, and then the other two slide in, and then it closes.
Little storage boxes to go on the outside rear of the vehicle.
So let's take a look.
Now we'll come over to the
Let me go
left
back
on
to it
the
so we can
rack.
kind of look at
Here's
the.
these by rewind boxes. I think storage
So
rack.
you see how the middle came out?
SCU
So
boxes,
the middle
I
will go
think.
back in.
It looks like
See,
you could
and then the two will come together, and then it closes up. So I think that it will.
Weapon rack.
I think that it will. You could fit 4 boxes on there, so that's cool in case you want to loot something special. But there's that.
Rear of the vehicle. Now we'll come over to the left side, which is how you get into the ship or the vehicle. There is a small refueling port right here, and then they'll open up the door. So that entrance is very similar to the Ursa. Now we'll come.
So if you look straight ahead, there is a weapons rack. It's not. It's just a regular one. I think, or maybe it might be a small.
Pretty cozy. Nothing too crazy. We have some component access. There is actually.
If you look down to the right here to the left, that's a jump seat.
A engineering terminal on the.
That is another weapons rack right there. So that makes 2, which will have 4. So that's 4 guns, regular size.
This, which is quite interesting. I don't think any other ground vehicles have that. Over there, right here, we have some more component access and some weapon lockers. And then we also have a.
And then, okay, so this is where I was saying. So there's this middle one. It may be just for. Actually, it looks like it's only for one, like, heavy gun, and then it has the 2 suit lockers. So it's not. It's basically for. It's for 2 people. It's not that. It's actually not that bad. It's pretty cool. You can definitely solo this, and I mean, thing would be really great. I think is if you had a suit for one occasion and then another suit for a different like environment. So that way, like, you can kind of like interchange the two. So this is definitely very soloable. And like, if you, depending on what your situation is, you can have a heavy armor, or you can have a medium armor or a light armor, depending on what you're doing. So I think this would be a very great accessory to have, especially as soon as they get suit lockers working. CIG, for the love of God, you've had suit lockers sitting in these ships for ever. Let's get the suit lockers working. I think, it's coming soon. I would hope so, with the tier 0 and all that fun jazz. But please, let's get the suit lockers working. Please. It's been there for too long. It's crazy that they just exist and they don't do anything. So let's get that working. That would be great.
A single large weapon rack, which can hold like a railgun. We have the 2 armor lockers, which right now they won't be the most useful, but I think in the future, when we have to carry armor around like that in those lockers, and you need to get somewhere, you would need multiple different types of armor for different types.
And like I said, it's got a shield on it, which is cool too. So again, it can be out there getting hit, but I don't think it's gonna last very long. But it's a 1-seater driver, and like I said, a jump seat, so it's only for 2 people.
Tasks. This could be pretty useful for something like that. There is some nice little UI stuff here. Some little light controls. Control some of the.
I would actually think this would be a really good ship to take through the distribution centers. This would be really a good ground vehicle for distribution centers, honestly.
Interior lighting looks pretty good.
So we're going to just go ahead and skip to the next thing. It's just because all he does is go over, just driving it around and using the turret. So we're just going to move on.
All right, now we're going to take a look at the
Guardian
MX. There's a little bit of a walk around here.
Just when you're looking at the back of it, you see how beefy it looks. So these back, I do believe the missiles will come out from right in front, like as it goes over this little corner right here, as it slows back down. I think that opens up for the missiles, if I'm not mistaken.
Again, it looks fairly similar. There's a few little visual differences on the little winglets, like how the guns are placed. That's a little bit different. There's some integrated missile launchers that we'll see.
You see how like this looks so like it looks more beefier. It looks like a tank. Like this is definitely hitting the feels for me. Like I like this a lot. Sure, the interdictor with a bed to sleep in where you can do like really deep dives is cool. Into like if you're going out there, you can just be out there for forever. as much as I do like that, I really do like this a lot better, even though it doesn't have a bed. I'm a little disappointed about the bed, but I still do like this.
And this does have those 4 size 4 guns, so 4 Rhino repeaters by default. So the big difference we're going to see in a moment is that there is actually no bed in the Guardian MX. So I think because of the additional components that have been added to this, there's an additional size 2 shield, and I believe it's been changed to a size 2 power plant instead of 2 size.
And I don't know if you guys can see it, but if you look right here, you see that landing gear? That's what it was looking like from CitizenCon, where it was sitting up high versus the actual regular Guardians that sit very low. So when they land, you're always kind of hitting the ground. It kind of is a pain, but this is why I was saying this is definitely the one from CitizenCon.
Size 1s, and maybe a couple of other little differences. The component room is basically all of the interior of the ship. So he's going to come up here, and we're going to see the little hallway here is a lot longer. It's just a bunch of different component access. Still have that engineering terminal, but again, more components on all these sides. Looks like we have a size 2 cooler, which I think the regular Guardian has size 1s, I want to say. And then as we go through this little door here, we can see it just goes straight into where your cockpit is going to be. So there is no bed, no habitation area on this version of the Guardian, which is a little bit of, it's going to be a little bit of a trade-off. So you do get some more offensive firepower, but you are giving up that that capability.
So when you're looking at this, this is all closed in. This is all armored. So the screen is going to come up, and then all of a sudden you're going to be able to see. But all this is armor. And actually, this middle section, there's a button you'll notice on the bottom that will make it let it open up later, just like the MX.
Being able to log out, we can see here the cockpit. It's all blacked out at first because there is a blast shield over this, and there's this really cool startup animation thing.
That is so really, cool.
Really cool.
So freaking
the new
cool.
MFDs look really nice as well. We can see those size 4 Rhinos firing.
And those Rhinos, whenever you get deployed, they kind of stick out.
You can see that cockpit there.
It looks pretty cool.
Encased in metal. We'll zoom in here.
Look, see, there's the missile I was talking about.
Launchers. So it has 24 size 2 missiles. And then over on the left side, there is a retract armor panel that will move up some of the armor. So it'll open up that front part to just be the normal glass, and it removes a little bit of the struts that are on there normally. So when he puts it back down,
that is so cool. And that's originally why I bought the other Guardian, not Guardian, but bought the Fury MX way back when, because I love that glass shield. I think it's super cool.
Glass shield that it has, whether or not that'll really have any effect on anything in the future, don't really know. It could just be, some artistic stuff they added, but
and all right, now here's one I think is really, like I said, I love the MX, but this thing I think is gonna be really awesome.
At the front, again, it is very, very similar to the Valkyrie. We can see there is this dual size 4 man turret. You can see the glass there. And again, this has 6 size 3 pilot weapons. We'll see the configuration of that a little bit later, but we can see 2 right here. There's 2 up here, and then there's a couple more over on the right side of the ship, but we'll see that a little bit later. As we come up to the front port side, there is a small access point for a
all these fuel ports, which I would think eventually you're going to have to start hooking up your own fuel port.
Pretty significantly different than vehicle bay taller Valkyrie's landing gear.
I love just the way this looks, with the thrusters being in the front like this, off to the side, off of it a little bit in the front, and the ones on the wings. It just makes this look so much better.
That may have had something to do
so
with
much better.
And
you see how
taller.
Look how big that is. Look at that vehicle bay. It's huge.
Now he's going to come up. There are panels to be able to open the rear ramp. It is a fair amount larger ramp.
Look at that.
Regular Valkyrie, a lot wider. Again, that vehicle bay, as we see here, is
this is great. Look how deep that is.
It is able to fit the large vehicles like the Nova tank, the Ballista, the Centurion, all of those sorts of vehicles. You can fit one of those in here. I'm sure you could also fit multiple of the smaller vehicles.
I would definitely go with probably 2 Storms instead of the. Maybe you could do like even the Storm and a Nova. I'd be curious. This is going to be one of the best, like one of the best will it fit videos. Again, Foxy Loxy, I know as soon as this thing drops, he's gonna be like, let's see what fits, and he's super cool about that stuff. So I'll look forward to seeing his will it fit videos. I love him when he does those. But I'm pretty sure you can fit a lot in there. I think that this ship's gonna be really cool, and I'm wondering what it's gonna be price range because I know the Valkyrie by itself is 375. The Asgard looks like it's priced at 300. So I'm like curious where this is gonna be. Like I would hope it's not over 400. As I spoke in my last video, I hope it's not over 400. That would suck. That'd be so bad.
We also have the door-mounted Gatling guns.
Ooh, door-mounted Gatlins. That's so sweet.
And then where we come back to where there are drop seats on the normal Valkyrie, we have some component access now. Then we have one jump seat on this side, an engineering terminal. As we go to the other side, there's more component access. Two jump seats, potentially for engineers
I'm just gonna kind of skip past.
Then we have a ladder to get to
going to the top.
Valkyrie. There's a little two crew ship.
Two bunks. It's pretty standard stuff. So
these are supposed to be completely finished to me. And then we get up here to the cockpit. We have our foot to the top.
Just look at this thing. It's so nice.
Sort of the rear.
Oh my gosh! I really think I might need this. This is kind of sad. What's that like? The Emerald Duchess. I think I need another one. But me trying to be practical, I think I would want to trade something for this. I just don't know.
Here we can see
I'd have to look and see what I can trade for this thing because this
you'll notice there's three
so
separate
nice.
Dual mounts.
Like, look at that. That's what I was talking about.
Total size
so
weapons for the pilot.
One here, one here, one here. I mean, that's so cool. It's size 3s, but throw some attritions on there, and then you got that big missile. I mean, it just looks so mean. I mean, I love this thing. And it gives that Aliens dropship from the movie Aliens kind of vibe with how the wings kind of at an angle right here with the big engine on it. Where it looks like from the Aliens movie they had almost the same configuration. So it's so cool. I love this ship.
There's one set below the cockpit and then two that are set above and behind to the left and right. They're kind of covered by some of that armor plating as well. So you have a decent amount of pilot firepower, and then you have that additional size 4 turret, so you can have a buddy hop in that. It will also show in a moment here firing out some missiles. So it appears that the missiles are pilot controlled. I guess
even
they
better.
Just decided to lay them out in that kind of blocky missile launcher up
That's
top.
cool.
So
the pilot he can hold his own. That's
cool.
Pretty sweet.
To see those firing out of there.
And as we talked about before with the amount of missiles, I think it was like 16. Let me take a quick gander. The Asgard. Yeah. So you have 16 size 3s in that joint. That's cool. That is, I think, like, if you had the TAC and one of these roll up, like, that would be hella crazy. Fully crewed, nah, that would be hella crazy. That's a great support ship, I think, if you're doing an assault. Like, say if you got someone with the TAC, have a TAC, 2 of these, it would be that would be a really crazy force. I'm pretty sure we're gonna see some of these whenever we're doing they have Jump Town and all those other little things again. I'm pretty sure you'll start seeing the Asgard, and the TAC going in, with bigger orcs and stuff like that. But I really like this ship. This ship is really cool. So I'm definitely on the fence. I might have to do something about that. But so I'm gonna switch over to the other video I had because I'm not really gonna go with the TAC. The TAC has been done over and over and stuff like that. You've seen stuff on the Inside Star Citizen from the week before. So let's look at this one. So this is the interior of the TAC. So as I said, there's no like pool table. It's not like a big lounge area. So this area is the bunk area. And this is your little, little hab. But you notice how it's significantly smaller than what it was on the Max. So I just wanted to kind of show that.
Right here, this is the elevator, the lift.
Oh, that's a little loud. Hold on, let me turn that down. Sorry, guys.
That you take to get up here to the second floor. Additionally, here is the ladder to get down to the first floor. So here we are looking at the area that would be the kitchen and pool table, kind of the cool hangout spot in the Max. And then back here, once you go through this doorway, this would be where the habs are. However, in this case, it is a hangar. You can see there's kind of a causeway or like a little bit of a walk around area for here.
Yeah,
you can see the door here.
That walkway is the same thing as the Max. It's like when you go out of the hab and you go around where this used to be where the halves are for the max. It's same difference. You just walk around to either side. You can go left or you can go right and come around.
To get in here. Possibly there's a door on the other side as well. And then presumably there's a stairway as well to get down to the garage section or the lower level there, where there is the area where you could put SCUs, some storage and stuff back under on the tack side. Yeah.
So I'm just going to kind of sit there because I don't want to, I'm already at 30 minutes. I don't want to make this thing too much longer. So let's see if they got anything else.
These are the door. This is the main door here, but there's extra doors here on each side. So I don't know what these are meant to be rooms of. Again, this is the living quarters here, and this way leads to the hangar over this way. So yeah, I don't know what these little rooms are. Possibly bathrooms is the only thing.
All right, so let's move on. This is just the interior. We already saw that for the MTC. Said one driver, jump seat, gun rack, you know, and the two suit lockers and the one large size gun rack in the back and then the other gun rack on the opposite side. So it's really nothing different. I don't think. Nope. Yep. See, there's the two lockers. So you guys have seen that. See if there's anything else. Nope. That's pretty much it. So I just wanted to just, you know, go over that stuff again. It's at the end of the other video from the Inside Star Citizen from this week, Jared mentioned about 4 ships. I'm not sure if there's 4 more coming after when I keep reading some of the new notes. Either way, the ships that they brought out I think are going to be pretty cool. I still think they're going to have some more ships of some sort. I don't know. One actually is almost finalized, they said. So maybe we'll see that. And this is my own personal prediction. I would love to see a military mech suit of some sort because we had the Atlas Geo. I think that Assault Atlas was just, I think, for kicks and giggles for fun. But I think that I would hope that they wouldn't have, because when you look at the Titan, whenever they first announced the Titan suits, and then you see the Atlas Assault suit, it's kind of jokey in a way because it's like you were giving us this. So it's like someone said they're going to give you pancakes and they're going to give you instead like dry bread with some jelly on it. I don't know. Like it's not the same at all. So, you know, if you say Titan suits, we want for assault suits, I want the Titan suit. I don't want a assault Atlas. Like it's cool, but I don't want that. I want the cool looking Titan suit. So I would hope that maybe that's one of them because there was a stand that was right next to where the Asgard is, like its own little place, like something's supposed to be there. And I can imagine that being where you would see a Titan suit. That would be super cool. That's my own personal prediction. We'll see what happens. I don't know. You know, CIG makes you think that we're gonna, you know, hit the ball out of the park, and then instead they just gave you, you know, a 2 base run. It's okay, but I would love again to see. I haven't heard anything about Drake yet, so I'm still holding out hope that maybe the Ironclad will be ready. We'll see. But that's all I have. Thank you for joining me again for this video. Thank you for hanging in there, and you know we'll see you out there in the verse. Oh, wrong one.